Good-looking people buy good-looking houses and drive cars that belong on magazine covers, so everyone just assumes Vancouver is the capital. But it's not. Victoria is. No one has a Ferrari in Victoria. It's a town mainly consisting of elderly people who have come here to retire, play golf, and then pass on peacefully in their bed. It doesn't get too hot in Victoria, and it doesn't get very cold. We usually see snow no more than one day of the year, and the rain is as miserable as it will ever be for the other 364. It's a coastal climate with ocean views and enough old people to sell out a Neil Diamond concert. For a kid, it's a great place to grow up. It's safe and suburban and smells like sea salt. People are kind, but not the type of kind that gets annoying after a while with pandering questions and trivial small talk. It's more of a gentle kindness, one that holds sincerity in one hand and brevity in the other. Many people smoke pot and lie by the water and want to experience a life outside of the shuffle of sidewalks and suits. It's the kind of place where everyone stays out of everyone's way and makes sure they do it with a smile, content to just float through their lives on this tiny rock in the middle of the ocean. I grew up in a small, old white and brown house on Hobbs Street. I was always convinced the street was named after Calvin and Hobbes, and so it was illogical to me that the next streets over weren't named accordingly. I always thought that was the missing piece that really could have pulled the community together. My mom told me when I was about 10 that the Hobbes of Calvin and Hobbes is spelled with an E. I was a teeny bit devastated and yet still equally convinced. The neighborhood itself was called Cadborough Bay. It had parks and playgrounds and, most important, a basketball court. I spent days as a toddler taking my tiny basketball to the court and heaving it toward the rim, ever hopeful that today would be the day my weak, stringy arms finally launched the ball toward the clouds and then down through the soft mesh. I never even hit the rim. This did little to discourage me. From the front door of my house to the front door of my elementary school makes 118 steps. I know because I spent a week counting it once. Everything a kid could need was in walking distance of my bedroom. The world seemed like a small and friendly place on Hobbs Street. People knew one another and smiled and had dogs and drove Volvos. Well, we didn't drive a Volvo, but everyone else did. Everything seemed like it was in order. But not in our house. Within the four walls I called home, things were a whole lot different. They were messy and flawed, and divorced from the cliched sense of suburban perfection everyone seemed eager to portray. Sometimes I wondered if all families were like that on the surface. Seemingly normal, if such a thing exists, and ordered, but behind closed doors, as messy as my own. I thought that would be a fascinating paradox. Everyone walking around pretending to be these positive, proper, put-together people, but really being just as dysfunctional as us. I know now that's a little true, that there is no perfect family, no normal life. Everyone stumbles through it all the same. The main difference lies not in the lack of dysfunction, but in the desire to be dishonest about it. Every family has problems, but only some let you see them. The rest just keep their chaos behind closed doors and out of conversation. Our house had 4 massive windows in the front. There was a dying, withering tree in the yard, with our house address half-heartedly hammered into it, but it didn't really obstruct your vision. So basically, if the blinds were open, you could see right into my house. From the first day I was old enough to be aware of it, that always bothered me. I'm not sure exactly why, it just made me feel like we were living in a box, and anyone who wanted to look into our box just had to walk in front of it. It made me feel exposed and naked and vulnerable. More than anything, it made me scared that maybe our personalities were like houses too, and mine had big windows on the front that let anyone who cared to look see just how freaked out and fearful I was about everything. The number 11 bus drove past about 10 to 20 times a day and shook the walls so violently that one time when I was home alone, a framed picture came off the wall and the glass shattered. We had 2 levels, 4 bedrooms, an ugly basement, and a beautiful golden retriever named Summer. She was a majestic dog who had a flowing mane and a seriously subdued sense of energy. She spent at least 80% of her day lying lazily on the green leather couch in the living room, doing a great job standing guard against any dangerous intruders who might be invading from the sidewalk. When Mrs. Heppel, a woman in her 60s who lived 2 doors down, walked by on her way to the grocery store, Summer would rise onto all fours and bark so intensely that she would fog up the window pane.